I started my business in Lagos, but my journey took an unexpected turn when unexplainable events moved my journey to Anambra State. In this video, I share the challenges I faced in Lagos, how doors kept closing, and how new opportunities opened up in my mother and fatherland of Anambra, Nigeria. Opportunities I never saw coming. This is my story of faith, resilience, and growth while navigating life and business in Nigeria. This is me. Living in Lagos. Chasing my dream. But yeah, this is it. So I can't even act like it was all bad in Lagos. Basically, as you can see, this beautiful estate that I'm in now is where I was living. And I actually got this place because I was randomly invited to a fashion show and I was seated in the front row and the girl next to me was like, "You know what? I just got a 4-bedroom mansion and I'm in there all by myself. I would love if you would come and live with me and you wouldn't have to pay anything. I got the house for free because I have a lot of followers and my role is just to showcase the house and showcase Nigeria." I was like, hell yeah, girl. So look at this place. Look at the balcony. Look at the homes for rent, for sale here. It was a beautiful place to be, and I absolutely enjoyed staying here. My room was fantastic. These are cupboards I need to clean out when I come back and fill them in. My suitcases are here. My shoes are there. The air conditioning thing is there. It works really, really, really well. It gets extra cold. My bed, I wash things in the wash machine. I dry them outside. And now some of them are still wet, so I'm leaving them here. This is my, dresser, shoes. This is my bathroom. This is the living room. This is the parlor way, I guess. Another bathroom. This is where we work. As you can see, vision's been written down. Africa made it. A lot of stuff. This is the kitchen. Literally So while I was in Lagos, I found this newspaper, and inside it, there's a request for expression of interest in helping make Lagos one of the top 5 preferred destinations for tourism in Africa. So I got to work. Trying to do something big in the world. Introduction shows what we are doing, why use us, SWOT analysis, airport redesign, reliable energy, our past work, planning process. Everything is here. I'm not done. So much work. I put together a 60-page proposal with every single thing they requested and then went to deliver the proposal to their office myself. And it was all in all a great experience. I met someone there. They gave me a receipt saying, yes, you have, submitted this proposal. And then I waited. And then I found out I did not get it. The contract went to Ernst & Young. So in 2018, I decided to come back to Lagos, Nigeria, and try again. I found an organization called the Entrepreneurial Africa. There's a magazine, and I lent my voice as, just doing voiceovers for them and helped with their magazine and just figuring out how we can get more entrepreneurs in Nigeria. They had an award show, and it was amazing to be part of it. Then I went to factories in Lagos and let them know, hey, I can get distributors in America. So let me have this Nigerian African made fabric and take it back to America and see who bites. And I was really doing that for a while, working with some of the largest distributors in America. And, nothing really ever went forward. Then COVID hit and it just didn't work. And finally, thank God, I randomly got a call while I was in Lagos to come to Anambra for a missions trip. To this day, I have no idea how they got my number. All I know is someone called and said, come to Anambra for a medical missions trip. So I booked a bus ticket and I paid 16,000 Naira, thinking, you know what, all I want to do is make sure I meet with someone from the Ministry of Tourism. That's what I want to do. So I'll go on this missions trip, even though I'm not a medical doctor. They told me to just come and encourage the youth. So I decided, why not? So I paid for that ticket, got on the bus, and took a nice trip all the way to Anambra State. It was a beautiful, peaceful ride, especially because it was Christmas season, so all the lights were up in Lagos and on the streets toward Anambra. And then when I finally got there that evening, I signed the volunteer registration form, and they gave me a T-shirt that said Anambra State Association Worldwide Medical Missions. They put me in my room, and it was nice. It was okay. It was free. So I was able to get cozy, and then in the next morning, we had breakfast together. Basically, this was the situation. Every day for a week, the team of volunteers, doctors, nurses, eye doctors, everyone went to a different city in Anambra. So we were in a different small town giving people free medical treatment. We all got on a few buses and left the hotel together and then went to a different town and gave people medicine. It was such a fascinating experience to watch and be a part of. Every chance I got, I told people how I wanted to work with the Ministry of Tourism. I have a master's in marketing, and sometimes they fell asleep on me. But then magic happened. Somebody came up to me and said, you know what? I was actually not supposed to be on your bus, but someone took my seat. So I went back to your bus, sat on the bus, and happened to overhear your conversation, and I can help. I work with the Ministry of Tourism. I was blown. He was like, don't worry. After the mission trip is over, we're going to have a large discussion with other team members. And so I was just so thrilled. I was on the bus watching this masquerade performance. I was too afraid to get out of the bus because, I've heard rumors they hit people. But anyway, I was just so excited. Now, at the end of every day, a host family in this city where we were providing services hosted us. And a lot of people have these huge, huge mansions, okay? So this is a mansion in Anambra State where they were able to host us. And when I say host, that means there were hundreds of us volunteering. They provided food, drinks, anything we wanted, and entertainment. They provided security. I mean, it was just a fascinating experience every day after helping people for someone in the town to say thank you and to host us with just such an amazing experience, decorative, environment, and the best food, the best drinks, the best time. So again, like I said, very, very good food. We were eating. And then the next morning we would do it all over again. So this was the crew of women that I was particularly hanging out with. And then we would go to now, like I said, another city, and we'd administer healthcare to the people in the community. And sometimes there'd be a hospital room, so we would work with that as well. And a lot of times we would just bring supplies for people that already had the space, and it was just incredible. Okay, there were glasses we were giving away, but again, like at the end of the night, we were hosted by a family. This time, look at this beautiful mansion. This is someone's house. So they provided entertainment, music, drinks for all of us to come and eat and just enjoy ourselves. At the end of the week, it was over, and we were all just so excited to get back on our bus and go back to the hotel and have one last night to say goodbye. After the missions trip, the guys picked me up from my dad's house, said hi to my dad, and said, "We need to make sure you see all these tourist sites before you meet the commissioner." They took me to the Airy Kingdom, where I got to see the actual castle, meet the actual Eze, and learn so much about our history from his perspective. I mean, it was just a fascinating experience to actually see what we have available to us in Nigeria that people from other cultures or African Americans and Nigerians, we all have access to and can just, come in contact with. It was an amazing experience. We all took a photo with the Eze, and then we got to see this Trinity tree that has, I guess, it's 3 different roots all come together to build one tree, and there's a history behind it. There was so much history, and I knew I wanted to promote it, but it was fascinating being able to be taken to these actual places to see it firsthand. Then they took me to the Owerri Ezekala cave and waterfall, okay, that we have in Anambra State. It was so cool. I thought I was going to be claustrophobic and scared, but you know what? I said, I'm already here. Our tour guide was so funny. It was just an amazing experience. So we got to go down. As you can see, they already painted the handrails green, white, green, and they're ready for tourists. So I actually got to see the waterfall and experience the cave. And it was such a beautiful experience. Apparently the water is healing if you drink it. I mean, this is right in our backyard for us, for domestic tourism, for international tourism. So I loved the experience. And then they went ahead and connected me with the secretary to the commissioner. And she decided she was going to host me. After talking to her on the phone, she said, "Come to Enugu. We're going to host you in my house." So this was my room in her house. It was just an amazing experience for someone I didn't know to just say, "Come, yeah, you want to do this? Okay, come." So I went to Enugu, and then they took me to Nikki Lake, her and her husband and her 2 kids. And Nikki Lake is just a beautiful place, a resort in Enugu. So this is the lake, and I got to take a few pictures. They really showed me a very good time. I got to really explore Enugu with them, and especially this Nikki Lake, and we got to eat abacha. We got to see the pool. I mean, it was just such a very cool experience. She said she was going to connect me with the commissioner. So then in 2019, I flew back to Nigeria for this meeting with the commissioner. Got my plane tickets on deck. I was like, look, this has been how many years in the journey? Got back on that plane, and I said, you know what? Let's go back and see if we can make a deal here. I'm trying to help boost tourism for Nigeria. I'm so proud to be a dual citizen. But anyways, I landed in Lagos. First thing I did was got a haircut because I felt like I looked somehow. And then, as you know, I booked me a bus, GUO this time, and they gave me a little special pack to Anambra State. So the ride was cool, as usual. It was just a chill trip to the east, and there was barely anyone in the car this time around. So I just relaxed and prayed, like, God, please, there needs to be a deal made. I went straight to my dad's house, broke some nuts and drinks with him, and then went straight to the Ministry of Tourism. There on the ground floor. Went to the Diaspora Affairs office and took a nice little tour of the ministry's office. So this is like they're outside of the whole ministry where they house Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Medicine, Ministry of Health, Ministry of all the other ministries are all in this one big building in Awka, Anambra State. And it was really nice to see the place. I've been there before, but what was cool is they brought me into a meeting and said, hey, we want you to present your idea. I sat there and eventually stood up, actually presented my thoughts, what I wanted to do for Nigeria, my background. It was so awesome because at the end, they all clapped for me. They were like, wow, thank you, my sister, for coming home. We love it. And now you can go meet the commissioner. Finally got to go to the commissioner's office, and we hit it off immediately. You see this red outfit? This is her dress, okay? She took me straight to her house, put me in this outfit, and took me to her church. That was the first thing she did. So it was really cool to get to know her on a personal level. This is holy water she asked me to drink. And I was like, okay, I got to meet people who were in need of medical help. And then she took me to another church a few days later where she was preaching. And then she told me I needed to get my hair done. So I did. And it ended up coming out much better than it looks here. However, she took me to her house in Onisha GRA where they get a whole house given to them. And she was so cool because she kept setting up meetings. So the hotel, Golden Tulip, came with security in their bus, picked me up, and took me to the Golden Tulip Hotel, which is a hotel in Anambra State that they're working on promoting. And so she wanted me to look at it and give them some thoughts and figure out how we can work together since I want to promote all that's good in Anambra State. So look at this beautiful hotel. And they had a beautiful pool, and he was showing me land that's been developed and then land that still needs to be developed outside of the hotel. He wanted to do some kind of like maze or just find an investor in America that was interested in working with them. There's also a lake there. It's amazing. So I had some good food, and then she connected me with ANSIPA. Again, they came and picked me up in their vehicle, took me to their headquarters, sat me down, told me about tax credits and things like that that investors would get in Anambra State. Then I went back to the Ministry of Tourism office and went back to the commissioner's office, and eventually, finally, hallelujah, we signed a deal. Okay, she sat there and we talked. We discussed what we wanted to do with Anambra State, and she put all the paperwork together. Literally, she used my laptop to write our agreement, and I finally got it. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's the deal that I have with Anambra State. I feel like after all these years, I got something.
Okay, perfect.
So that is how, in all of this divine life, I went from struggling and working and trying to get just somebody to give me a break in Lagos, and I got a huge break in Anambra State. So then I took this agreement from her, went back to the airport in Lagos, and said, you know what, thank you, we're good, thank God. I'm ready to go and fight for Anambra State. And somehow I got put into the executive luxury lounge in the Lagos airport. So I got some free drinks, I got some nice food, and then I headed back to America. And that is what happened.
If this video found you at the right time, and maybe it's not a coincidence, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep growing through this journey together.